Tash Faithful's had a wonderful season at Kalgoorlie, and she rides the first winner there on Lasting Legacy for Peter Fernie, who saddles up another 17 runners today, including the favourite here, Heavy Metal. This is the Encore monitoring maiden over 1,200 metres, and Heavy Metal is ridden by William Pike, Riley, and is the $1.50 favourite at the moment. Are we taking the twos on?
Don't think so from a betting sense, Michael. She has been a pretty tricky filly to catch over the course of the journey, but hard to argue with the case that she does present here this afternoon. I think this is the easiest race she's found herself in her career to date. She has had a few cracks at it now. She's had 15 career starts, but there's also a case to be made that she's the best credentialed maiden, not just here in Kalgoorlie, but in WA at the moment, really. She was black type placed as a 2-year-old. She ran well in a champion fillies as a 3-year-old as well, and a little bit earlier this campaign she ran second, pretty luckless second as well, behind Fancy Red, who's gone on to win 5 races for the campaign, including a Belmont Oaks. So the form lines certainly stand out, as Cobb would say, like a proverbial beacon on paper, but she has been pretty tricky to catch over the course of the journey. She certainly hasn't been one of mine.
Just on William Pike, yesterday he rode 4 winners. I think Blake Shin rode 1, and Pikey was already 4 wins ahead in the National Jockeys title. So whilst William isn't riding midweek, he's going on a holiday, I think, to Broome throughout the upcoming week, but he's all but sewn up that national title. Just another one in the bank after missing a couple of months with injury as well.
He might not have needed the trip to Kalgoorlie today. He might be regretting that, given the day he had there at Belmont yesterday. I'm sure that may have played some part of his decision to come here this afternoon, but he's got a really strong book of rides, as we mentioned in our preamble, Michael. Yeah. I've got him winning 3 races on today's program from here, and he looks a very good chance of putting his first win on the board here with Heavy Metal, but couldn't enthuse her from a betting sense at the price.
First horse has entered the yard, and that is King of France from the yard of Brock Luthwaite with Chris Nichol aboard.
Was racing well a little bit earlier this campaign, Michael. Has gone off the boiler a little bit in recent runs. King of France ran last of 6 2 starts ago, beaten a long way over the 1,400 metres. Did pull up with some post-race, was slow to recover there, so there was some genuine excuses, but was disappointing once again rolling forward. Had every conceivable there last start behind Lendoneer, beaten 7.5. He's just racing like a tired horse.
The 2 is Jekyll Island. David Smith, Troy Turner.
Had some excuses last start, was wide throughout over the 1,400 metres and compounded to run last over the concluding stages. He's certainly got a lot more ability than that. Was a lot better the start before that, running 3rd of 6 here behind Alabama Elegance, and has actually run 3rd in town a bit earlier in the campaign as well. Ran 3rd behind Fire the Lot, who looks a really nice 3-year-old for Michael Lane. So his best runs have been very good, but he has tended to mix his form this campaign. I'm hoping he can sit a bit closer in running here today from barrier 2. Do think the drop back to 1,200 metres is going to suit him here as well. I could certainly see him running an improved race.
The 3 is Our Desperado, with the pads going on the front. The first of Peter Fernie's 2 runners here. Tash Faithful looking for an early double.
The pads on for the first time are a bit of a concern for mine, Michael, as they always tend to be once you see that gear change fired in. But this horse has really turned a corner since lobbing here in Kalgoorlie. Ran 3rd behind Purple Circle over 1,100 metres. Run 3rd behind the Sheragini in what was a pretty high rating maiden for the season as well. Then last start bumped into Gibraltar Gold, who we see go around a little bit later on today, and has been very well supported there as well. It did always look like he was going to be run down by that filly last start, but it was still a brave effort, the manner in which he was able to fight out that race. He's shown his versatility in his runs here at Kalgoorlie as well. He's run well from off the speed. He's run well from right over the speed. Also, does have a tricky gate to navigate for Tash early doors in terms of what her tactics are, but if she can find the right run with him, he's certainly capable of putting his first win on the board.
The 4 is Reggio Calabria, with the second run for Aaron Pateman with wife Kate aboard.
It's a good run last start. Best work was late over the final couple of 100 metres there. That was in Class 1 company, so he was racing out of his grade. Back to a maiden here, and a Kalgoorlie maiden at that is certainly much better placement. Is a horse that gets back in running despite drawing barrier 4. I am expecting to see him lob in the second half of the field. He's yet to run into the money and place in all 11 career runs to date, but he is certainly going to find this a bit easier.
The 5 is our well-supported favourite, Heavy Metal. Blinkers off, tongue tie off, nose roll and nasal strip on for Peter Fernie and William Pike.
Plenty of gear changes there, as you mentioned, Michael, and where to begin with this filly, really. She's just been so tremendously difficult to catch over the course of the journey. But she's arguably the best credentialed maiden, well, she is the best credentialed maiden we've seen here race at Kalgoorlie this season, and arguably in WA. She's placed as a 2-year-old in black type company. She ran well in a champion fillies as a 3-year-old, wasn't beaten far and was luckless on that occasion. And you go back through her form from a little bit earlier this campaign. She ran second behind Fancy Red, who's won 5 races for the prep, and a Belmont Oaks included in those 5 wins, was incredibly luckless when running fourth, beaten a length by Regal Service, who looks a really nice horse for Mickey Grantham. Last time we saw her at the races, she contested a 3-year-old handicap down the straight at Pinjarra. She clearly wasn't suited to racing down the straight, and she was only beaten 4 lengths by the subsequent Beaufine Stakes winner there, Michael, in repossession. So the form really stands out on paper, as we have mentioned already. She has had a few cracks at it now. She's having start number 16 for her career here this afternoon, but I think this is the easiest race she's found herself in her career to date. She gets William Pike on board. She's got a lovely barrier to work with. Couldn't enthuse her as a betting proposition at the price, but I do think she's going to prove very hard to beat.
And the 6, Shine and Burn. Blinkers off, Helen Harding, Zephyr Johnston Porter.
I tipped into this horse last start, Michael. I thought she was very disappointing on that occasion, rolling forward. Got very tired over the concluding stages. I do think she's a fair bit better than that, as she showed last preparation. She ran second in a 3-year-old maiden over the 1100 metres at Bunbury behind Shoot to Fame. Gets the blinkers off here this afternoon. Expecting they might ride her a little bit more conservatively, and she can certainly improve.
The 7, Rose All Day. Pre-race earmuffs on for Kerry Martin and Damien Boutte.
A recent couple of runs have been poor. Going to suggest she'll struggle to treble these.
The 8 is Rightio, Ryan Hill, Holly Nottle.
1,600 metres back to 1,200 metres. Not something you see too often, but Ryan Hill's case, certainly something that isn't too peculiar for him and his placement of his horses. She just couldn't go with the speed early this filly last start, so with that very sharp drop back in distance, she may just get run off her legs early doors.
The 9, Throw Me a Kiss, Paul Tapper, Lisa Staples.
Thought she stuck on well last start, this filly. It wasn't a bad run first time at Kalgoorlie and first run in WA. From barrier 1, could really kick up and either lead or hold a strong position just in behind the speed. Has got a bit of upside as a lightly raced filly and some improvement to come, you'd think, off last start as well.
And the final run of the 10, Luminous Lady, Brett Drury, Kirill.
I loved her run last start, Michael. She just peaked late over the concluding stages, but she really loomed up like she was going to have a big say in that finish. She trolled quite nicely when formerly with Peter's Investments. The step to 1,200 metres will suit her today. She should really improve. Might need an ounce of luck early to find a spot from the draw, but if she does, I do think she looks a danger to the favourite.
Let's find out what the trainer thinks. I've got Brett Drury here. Brett, how much improvement was there after the first up run?
Yeah, look, naturally she's improved. Her work this week was really sharp. I thought it's border on pretty good. It is only her second start in a race, and she's given away a lot of experience to some of these, but yeah, she's come on good.
Extra 100 metres, the way she loomed up last start, and if she has improved, do you think that's ideal now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in time she's probably going to want even further.
Drawn a little bit sticky, but she did get back on debut. Is she likely second half of the field again?
Yeah, I think so. 7's a sticky barrier. I just said to Kira, just sort of try and drop across and get some cover.
Who's the best of your 4 horses today?
Probably Leo each way in the last.
One more for Leo. Good luck.
Thanks so much.
There is Brett Drury. Thank you for your time. First 4, please, Riley.
5, 10, 3 and 6 for me here, Michael. Not a betting proposition at the price, but I do think Heavy Metal looks hard to beat today. Easiest race that she's found in her career. She gets William Pike on board. A host of gear changes, as you mentioned. First run up here on the Goldfields for Peter Fernie as well. If she was to bring anything near her best, she would be very hard to beat in this. From the 10, Luminous Lady. Loved her run there on debut here at Kalgoorlie. Only peaked late over the concluding stages, and if there is any improvement from that first up run, and she does get a bit of luck early doors and find some cover, she looks the clear danger for mine to the favourite. 3, Our Desperado. Pads on first time, always a little bit of a concern, but certainly going well enough to win with a bit of luck early doors for the informed jock at today's meeting in Tash Faithful. I guess not including William Pike, but Tash in some terrific form as well. And the 6, Shine and Burn, who's better than what she produced last start, in for 4th. 5, 10, 3 and 6. Heavy Metal on top for me, Michael, but she is very short.
She is, and she's shorter now into $1.30 from $1.90. She heads the market from Our Desperado, who's on the second line of betting at $7.50, and Luminous Lady out to $17, but third favourite. Here's Royce Newton to call them home in race 2.
Yeah, runners coming forward here for the second event. It is the Encore monitoring maiden. Thanks, boys. And yes, so not too far off a start. The money just continues to come for Heavy Metal. 138 a short while ago into $1.30 now. $1.30 for a 15-start maiden. Almost unheard of. Okay, as Reggio Calabria goes forward, Luminous Lady locked away. So we've got 3 to come forward. Shine and Burn, Our Desperado, and Rose All Day. So Heavy Metal 130, 160 on the Parimutuel. Out of Gold Edition, which was just pointed out to me a short time ago. So Rose All Day to come forward from the Martin stable. And does so now. You can pretty much write your ticket on any other runner in the race. Our Desperado, the single other runner, also from the Peter Fernie stable, that is in single figure odds. As Shine and Burn is to come forward and complete the line. Stand by, the Encore monitoring maiden. This is race number 2. Starter waste no time. They're off racing now. Throw Me a Kiss from the inside, but gunning fairly. Going back early on, we've got Luminous Lady. Likewise also with Reggio Calabria. With early speed at Shine and Burn. The outside Our Desperado. And there goes King of France to make a line of 3 in those orange silks. They will follow next of all to Throw Me a Kiss down on the inside. Heavy Metal there. Also with just ahead of those, we've got to the outside, Righty O, and also just one caught out wider. And I'll grab it for you in a moment. Down on the inside, Jekyll Island, then Reggio Calabria, and at the tail, it's Luminous Lady. So they're onto the side of the course, and King of France is off and gone, has opened up 3.5 lengths on Shine and Burn. Our Desperado 4th. They were followed by Throw Me a Kiss, then Heavy Metal, this favourite 5th to the outside. They were followed next of all by Jekyll Island, then Righty O. Between runners, Reggio Calabria, well back to Luminous Lady, and Rose All Day is last of all. They're in the straight though, and it's King of France off and gone at the furlong pole. 3 lengths are good. Shine and Burn. Here's Heavy Metal starting to extend now. It's King of France in front. Heavy Metal the outside trying to level up. King of France in front with a length to make up. Heavy Metal the outside. They drive to the line. Heavy Metal in the final stride at $1.30 gets up. Second across the line, we had King of France. Third, Jekyll Island. They were followed in by Shine and Burn, Luminous Lady, Throw Me a Kiss. Then we had Reggio Calabria, followed in a big break to Our Desperado. Second last, Righty-O, and last to greet the judge was Rose All Day. Well, Heavy Metal at start 16 today, breaks through at the quote of $1.30, and King of France gave favourite punters a mighty scare. Inside that 100 kept responding, but Heavy Metal was coming and has got there in the last couple of strides. 5 goes into the frame. Heavy Metal for Peter Fernie, William Pike. Second in the 1, King of France. 2 gets third, Jekyll Island, who's hit the line strong once again. And 6, Shine and Burn will get 4th from the Harding camp. A neck by a length and a quarter. The margins after the running of race 2. But it was Heavy Metal, first run for Peter Fernie today. Of course, has targeted bigger assignments prior to this, but sent to Kalgoorlie today for what should have been an easy kill, and gets the result. By Blue Point from Gold Edition, and trained by Peter Fernie, ridden by William Pike, owned by Luke Fernie, K. Dope, Miss M. Manfredini, A. Dooman. Also in the ownership, J. Fahy Gilmore, G. Flay, J. Hughes, C. Ludaborough, and B. Thakra. Second in is the 1, King of France, Brock Luthwaite and Chris Nicol, by Bondi from Fontainebleau, owned by D. Martin and D. Norrish. Third in the 2, Jekyll Island for Dave Smith and Troy Turner by Snippetson from Lenorny, owned by Dave Smith. And 6 in 4th, Shine and Burn for Helen Harding and Zephyr Johnston Porter. 5, 1, 2, 6. The numbers after the running of race number 2. Peter Fernie with the first 2 on the card, and he's got the red-hot favourite in the 3rd. The Hydramec Handicap, where we've got 7 starters. Close at hand is your 150 favourite. In the meantime, let's hear from Pete after the win of Heavy Metal in race number 2.
Thanks very much, Royce. An early double here for Peter Fernie, and William Pike gets his first win on the board at his first meeting here at the Goldfields this season. This filly started $1.30 on the tote. She was very, very well backed in the end. She's a 15-start maiden prior to today. And I'll grab a word from Peter Fernie now. Pete, for a horse that placed in a Supremacy Stakes at listed level on debut. She's taken a little while to win a race, but good to get the job done today.
Yeah, I think the way they race in Cal, they go pretty hard, and it suited her because she can't think what she's doing. So I think that was the main thing. And Willie makes a difference. He rode her beautiful, and so she's going to go to stud now. I don't know if she'll have any more or what they're going to do with her. We'll see how we go.
Well, she had a few gear changes today. The blinkers and tongue tie went off, and the nose roll and nasal strip went on. Talk us through the decision there.
Oh, just because she's always throwing ahead, and I had an old horse called Mr. Vadim. I used to use a nasal strip because he was exactly the same as her, so just thought I'd try it, and it seemed to work, so I'm pretty happy with it.
What's the last 50 days look like for her? She hadn't raced for nearly 2 months?
No, she went down to Brent's for a while, and then she came here, but she was good, so no use. Don't know if we'll keep going with her and give her another one or just see how it goes.
Lucy Fury out, William Pike in. That's a nice luxury to have.
Yeah, they're both great.
Well done.
Thanks.
There's Peter Fernie, and he's the wizard, William Pike.
Thanks, Michael. Catching up with William Pike. Willie, she was made to earn it today. Heavy medal at the shorts, but she got there.
Yeah, we got there. That's the most important part. That tearaway leader really had us chasing, didn't it? She really had to knuckle. She did her job. It shortened enough for us to just nab it, but still think she's learning how to go. Like she's all busy, but actually not as speedy as she thinks she is. So hopefully with Pete being able to get a few wins under her belt here, get her confidence up.
Probably didn't need to come to Kalgoorlie today, given how yesterday unfolded. It was a massive day for yourself, but with the weather we've got, maybe a bit nicer than being in Perth.
Yes, right. It's raining cats and dogs in Perth. And look, if you had told me Tuesday I was going to ride 4 on Saturday, I probably might have opted for a different path today. But still, I'm here. Sun's out. I'm enjoying it. We're on the board, so monkeys off the back. Hopefully I can get a few more.
Another Jockey's Premiership all but sewn up, Willie, and as I do understand it, one that probably means a little bit more than the others.
Yeah, it certainly does. I've had injury setbacks and a lot of things going on. So definitely on a personal level, it means a lot. Come back from injury and to be able to catch Chris. I know he had his setbacks as well, which just to have a close premiership was entertaining, and obviously I enjoyed it a lot more coming out on top.
Well done on the win, and best of luck for the rest of the day.
Thanks, mate.
It's been some sort of season. It's been a roller coaster, and he's done a wonderful job to have that couple of months off and still ride the most winners in the country, William Pike. He's back to where it all started today in the Goldfields, and he's on the board. 5, 1, 2 and 6 are the numbers here in race number 2 from Kalgoorlie.
Is to come forward and complete the line. Stand by, the Encore monitoring maiden. This is race number 2. Starter waste no time. They're off racing. Now Throw Me a Kiss from the inside, but gunning fairly. Going back early on, we've got Luminous Lady. Likewise also with Reggio Calabria. With early speed, it's Shine and Burn. The outside are Desperado, and there goes King of France to make a line of 3 in those orange silks. They will follow next of all to Throw Me a Kiss down on the inside. Heavy Metal there. Also with just ahead of those, we've got to the outside, Righty O, and also just one caught out wider. And I'll grab it for you in a moment. Down on the inside, Jekyll Island, then Reggio Calabria, and at the tail, it's Luminous Lady. So they're onto the side of the course, and King of France is off and gone, has opened up 3.5 lengths on Shine and Burn. Our Desperado 4th. They were followed by Throw Me a Kiss, then Heavy Metal, this favourite 5th to the outside. They were followed next of all by Jekyll Island, then Righty O. Between runners, Reggio Calabria, well back to Luminous Lady, and Rose All Day is last of all. They're in the straight though, and it's King of France off and gone at the furlong pole. 3 lengths are good. Shine and Burn. Here's Heavy Metal starting to extend now. It's King of France in front. Heavy Metal the outside trying to level up. King of France in front with a length to make up. Heavy Metal the outside. They drive to the line. Heavy Metal in the final stride at $1.30 gets up. Second across the line, we had King of France. Third, Jekyll Island. They were followed in by Shine and Burn, Luminous Lady, Throw Me a Kiss. Then we had Reggio Calabria, followed in a big break to our Desperado. Second last, rightio, and last to greet the judge was Rose All Day.